Yo, what is up, guys? It is Bob Kronos, and we're back with another video. So, just had my first day of online college classes with Zoom. Didn't actually have any classes today, but I got a test tomorrow that I gotta study for. But I decided to, pump out a video while I still can, because I need a brain break. I wanted to start a new kind of series on my channel, which I haven't really seen any other channel do. Which is just going through all the champions and kind of like rating them one by one as I learn them myself. Because, I don't know, maybe you guys would be interested in it. I'm obviously a free-to-play and new player. I'm only like 2 months in, so I don't really have that many champions. So obviously I'm not gonna know what they do, but I have like a decent idea of like how good everything is in the game, like what aspects are good, what items to use, and what abilities are like game changing to have. So yeah, starting off on my champions, I don't have like that many legendaries. I have like these two, and that's about it. But yeah, what was I gonna say? So I just had a video where I opened some void shards. So if you guys are interested in that, be sure to check that out. But let's get straight into it. So the champions that I'm talking about for this first episode are gonna be the Bannerlord legendaries. I'm gonna go through each one of them individually, and I'll just go from there. I'll probably do the legendaries for every single faction, and then after that I'll do the epics, maybe the rares, but probably not the uncommons or the commons because they're not that relevant in the game aside from like a couple if you're early game. Also with the new changes coming into the 1.14 patch, a lot of the Bannerlord legendaries are getting buffs, so I kind of wanted to go over those as well. I have them pulled up in the back. So if we look at this first Bannerlord champion, who is of the Spirit Affinity and is an HP based champion, we have his Ep1, which is attacks one enemy, has a 15% chance of inflicting a critical hit, an extra 15. And then we have attacks all enemies, places a 50% decrease debuff and a 50% decrease attack. Now this decrease attack is actually really good for clan boss, however it is on a 3-turn cooldown, which isn't like that game changing. Decrease accuracy is like whatever. This could be good in the arena, but let's peep his reviews. So yeah, he has some pretty mediocre reviews, not that great. Whenever you're looking at legendary champions, you're generally looking for like a 4 in almost everything. So his attacks all enemies apparently is good for the campaign. Let's look at his passive. Places a shield buff on this champion for 2 turns at the start of each turn. Will place a 15% decreased speed debuff for 1 turn on whichever champion destroys the shield. We'll place it. The value of the shield is proportional to this champion's max HP. This is decent. You can lower it to a 1-turn cooldown, so basically he'll be getting a shield every turn. However, I don't like how Polarium isn't like that direct with what percentage of this champion's max HP, because it just says it's proportional. So that's kind of whatever. The 15 decrease speed is like okay, because it's obviously on a passive, but honestly not that game changing, not that great. So he has a 50% ally HP in dungeons. Now whenever you're going to dungeons, the kind of auras you're looking for is HP is like decent. You're definitely not looking for an attack where you're looking more for defense. Defense is probably the best one that you can get, and then probably speed and HP. Yeah, definitely not attack, but I mean, Lord Champfort is not looking too hot, but let's take a look at some of the changes that they made with him in the next 1.14 patch, which should be coming within the next week. Also, I realized that this video is probably going to be decently long, so I'm going to leave some like timestamps so that you guys can just skip to whatever legendary that you guys are interested in. So they're changing his Ep1 Dude, attacks one enemy has a 45% chance of placing a 60% decreased defense instead of a 15% increase in his crit rate, which is amazing. Damage scales with this champion's HP. I think all his skills. Oh, these ones actually scale with attack. That's actually terrible. Yeah, that's probably why he does like no damage, because he is an HP champion with 2200 HP, and if his abilities scale with attack, you're obviously not going to probably building attack on him if you don't know that his abilities scale off attack, which I didn't even know. So yeah, that's a great change. He'll definitely do a lot more damage, and this 45% chance of decreased defense is really good, and you can probably bring that up too. Damage scales from this champion's HP, and they changed his A2 to also do that. Shield value is doubled, places a 15% decrease attack that attacks this champion. Okay, so it's just attacks instead of kills the shield, and the shield value is doubled. I think Lord Champfort is actually going to be really good. So if his shield doubles, I wish they would tell us how much, but I assume like the people who have it would know. But his abilities are going to be scaling off HP now, which you can build on him. And HP is really good, so he'll probably be hitting a lot harder. Now, on to Sethallia. I'm pretty sure she has the highest base speed in the whole game, so at 108. But let's look at her abilities. Attacks one enemy has a 50% chance of placing an HP burn for 2 turns, can be buffed up to 60% chance. That's pretty good. Removes all debuffs from a target ally, then places a block debuff buff for 2 turns and heals that ally for 75% of their max HP. Heals all other allies by 20% and fills their turn meter by 15 if the target is fully healed by this skill. On a 2-turn cooldown, this is pretty good. So you can have a block debuffs on a certain target forever, basically. So that can work in combination with some pretty cool people, like maybe even a cult brawler who places poisons on himself, but sometimes you want his A2 to go off. But 75% of their max HP is like, if it was on this champion's max HP, then that would be a lot better. Has a 75% chance of removing all buffs from all enemies, and then decreases the turn meter of all enemies by 10% and fills the turn meter of all allies by 10%. So this can be buffed up to 100%. And that's definitely what you want. You want to have as high accuracy as you can, because this is a removing all buffs, which is crazy for Arena. Decreases the turn meter of all enemies by 20% and fills the turn meter of all allies if 5 or more buffs are removed, which in Arena I assume they would be. That's really good. Let's take a look at her reviews. Yeah, Arena's ridiculous. Yeah, she seems like pretty situational. You wouldn't want her because she doesn't really have like an AoE, but she's definitely a strong support champion for sure. Ally resist in all battles by 50. That's decent too. Cillian the Lucky, the new champion that came out, which was the last fusion. Obviously, I couldn't complete the fusion. His aura is garbage. Attacks one enemy 2 times each, has a 35% chance of placing a decrease speed. Each also has a 35% chance of stealing 30% turn meter. Attacks one enemy 2 times, which is pretty good. Can be buffed up to a 50% for each one. That's decent. Has a 85% chance of placing a block cooldowns debuff for 4 turns. Also has a 35% chance of placing a block cooldown skill debuff on all of the enemies for 1 turn. We buffed up to 100% for this one and 50% for that one. So basically, if they don't have a block debuff skill, whoever you place the block cooldown skill on is dead for the rest of the battle. Speaking for Arena, because I'm pretty sure he was supposed to be built for Arena. He's also based off attack. Attacks one enemy, has a 75% chance of placing a stun debuff for 1 turn, has a 25% chance of placing the stun debuff for 2 turns instead of stealing the 50% of the target's turn meter. Resets the cooldown of this skill if the target is killed. This has a 22 turns instead. So these can be buffed up to 150. This is decent. It resets the cooldown, but it doesn't give him an extra turn, so you basically just miss your turn anyways. But I'm assuming this one hits for a decent amount, since it is based off attack. His passive, if you don't know what his passive does, he basically gets one of these buffs every single turn for 2 turns, which is pretty cool. Cillian has, like, based on his kit, I heard everybody was pretty low on him, but based on his kit, he doesn't seem like terrible, but yeah, he just has terrible reviews. I guess he's not like hitting that hard, and his utility isn't like great other than this block cooldowns. I don't think the stun is that important. But yeah, if he had like other things to help the whole team rather than just buff himself, then that would be a lot better. But I don't know. He looks pretty cool in my opinion. Now we'll go to Black Knight. Has a 75% chance of placing a provoke debuff. Can't be upgraded at all for the percent chance. You're not looking at the damage really whenever you're trying to book somebody up. Places a 15% continuous heal and 60% increased defense on all allies for 2 turns on a 2-turn cooldown, which is amazing for literally any stage of the game. Attack to all enemies damage increases according to the amount of HP this champion has lost. Interesting. The HP he has lost, and it's based off attack too. Very interesting. Places an unkillable buff on this champion for 1 turn if incoming damage exceeds 15% max HP in 1 attack. Okay, so these two work in tandem with each other. So if he takes too much damage, then he'll place an unkillable buff on himself for 2 turns. This is kind of like the other girl, what's her name, Skullcrown, but his is on a way lower cooldown, and I think Skullcrown is 20% max HP, not 15. So this one's definitely like buffed up version. Attacks all enemies. The HP his loss is a very interesting mechanic, but yeah, he seems pretty cool. He looks cool too. Campaign is pretty good with his AoE on his A2. Yeah, it doesn't seem terrible, but he's also not the greatest. I think his A2, or he's good for campaign for his A3, that's what I meant. But his A2 is also a really cool ability. I like how it's on a 2-turn cooldown too. Minaya, she just also recently came out right before the Cillian fusion. I heard she was not that good. Like Coronar, the beast version of this like Snow White? Bro, I cannot even remember the the fairy tale stuff, but Beauty and the Beast, that's what it is. But she looks a lot like Snow White, not gonna lie. Okay, attacks one enemy, places a 15% continuous heal buff on the ally with the lowest HP for 2 turns. Pretty decent. Attacks one enemy, heals this champion and the ally with the lowest HP by 10,000 flat. Has a 75% chance of placing a 100% heal reduction on all enemies for 2 turns. Can be buffed to 100% and on a 3-turn cooldown. Heals this champion and the ally with 10,000 is decent amount. It's not like it might not even full heal most people, so I don't think it's that great. Heals all allies by 40% of their max HP. Okay. If they're fully healed, then it places a shield debuff for 2 turns equal to the champions. Okay, I don't like how it's part of their max HP for all of them, because whenever you're building a support, right, you wanna have a support that heals based off their max HP, because a support is obviously gonna have more HP than like your attack damage. The speed aura is pretty good, 19%. But since these are all based off like they're at 40% of their max HP and they'll get a shield for 25% of their max HP or a flat healing, like that's not that good. Fills the turn meter of all allies by 20% when this champion is killed. Revives this champion when killed if Coronar. So this is like one of the tandem passes, so you need to have Coronar, which is pretty cool. I like this revive on 4 turns. Fills champion by 20 meters if she dies. Whatever. Let's look at her reviews. Oh, she actually has some pretty decent reviews. Campaign locations, I'm assuming this is like to clear the nightmare. But yeah, pretty cool. Lugan the Steadfast. Attacks one enemy, heals all allies by 25% of the damage inflicted. So is he support HP? Heals all allies by 25% of the damage inflicted. Places the shield debuff on this champion equal to 10% of their max HP. This is another their max HP kind of thing. Heals all allies. It's not bad, to be honest. Like, this is on his A1, which is actually amazing. Places a 60% increased defense for 3 turns. 3 turns. Places a 50% ally protection for 2 turns. On a 4-turn cooldown. That's a pretty good ability in my opinion. Attacks all enemies, has an 80% chance of placing a block cooldowns debuff for 2 turns. Oh, this is on all enemies and for 2 turns. So this is just like the amazing version of Cillian. And it can be buffed to 100% on all enemies, because Cillian's was like 50% on all enemies for a 1 turn, I think. HP is this 150? Faction Crypts, that's whatever. Faction Crypts isn't like main priority for I don't think many people, but he has some pretty decent reviews. Pretty decent champion in my opinion. Septimus, let's see how far. So we got like 4 more. Septimus, Richtoff, and Raglin. Richtoff, I mean. So Septimus got an AI change, I think, in the last patch, so his A1 actually hits or something like that. So attacks one enemy, grants an extra turn, and resets the cooldown of this champion's Holy Sword skill if the target is killed. Grants an extra turn and resets the cooldown of this champion's Holy Sword skill. So his Holy Sword is his 2nd skill. Attacks one enemy will ignore shield and block damage buffs. Damage increases according to enemy max HP. Enemy max HP. I've never heard of people using him in like spiders or something, but most enemy max HP skills, like what is it? Coldheart and the other guy, Royal Guard, are like really good for spiders since they do it based on enemy max HP. But I've never heard of Septimus being used in there. Each attack has a 30% chance of increasing the duration of all debuffs on the target by 1 turn. Damage inflicted by each attack increases if the is over 50%. So he does more damage if they're over half health. Ally attack, pretty bad. Or a clan boss, amazing. The spiders, he actually is used a decent bit in spiders. But he's used in clan boss a lot. Interesting. Places will ignore shield and block damage buffs. So he doesn't, I don't... Septimus does seem... I already knew he was like a good champion, but I guess people are using him a lot more than I expected. Obviously, I'm new to the game, so like I don't know literally everything about every single champion. I don't even know like half the champions I'm reading through right now, but I like reading through them. Like I haven't taken the time to read through each one of their skills and figure out what they do, so it's kind of a cool experience, and I'm just sharing you guys like my first impressions of them. So we have an attacks all enemies, decreases each target's max HP by 10% of the damage dealt. Decreases each target's max HP by 10. That seems terrible. Attacks it is an AoE on his A1, which is good. Richtoff is also one of the people getting a buff next patch, so we will go over the buffs right after that. Attacks one enemy, places a 5% debuff. One enemy 3 times. I'm pretty sure this is an attacks all enemy 3 times afterwards, or in the next patch. Attacks one enemy, copies 1 random debuff on the target, and places it on all other enemies. Doesn't seem terrible. Attack and vacuum crypt is whatever. So let's look at Richtoff's new abilities. So decreases the target's max HP by 30% of the damage dealt, up from 10%. So that's basically just a destroy set on his A1, and there's no like content in the game right now, I don't think, that like really shines with the destroy set. Maybe they'll add one in the future, some new content hopefully, but I mean, destroy set is one of those sets where you just basically sell all of it unless it's like a god tier item. Attacks one enemy 3 times, each hit has a so each hit has a 5%, places a 5% debuff on all enemies. Was that what it was already? Did I just mistake myself? No, places a 5% debuff. So this is now places a 5% poison debuff on all enemies, which is pretty good. Okay, and then attacks one enemy, deals an additional 20% critical damage based on each poison, up to 100%. So if you build 100% crit, so they just completely changed curse hold. So if you build 100% crit, and then you build like a decent amount of crit damage, let's say you build it up to like 120 or something, you'll automatically have like 220 if they have 5 poisons. And he would actually work really good with Zavia, another like OP tier legendary. who has the poison bomb shit. So yeah, that's pretty cool. Raglin. I didn't actually peep his reviews. Okay, he's pretty bad right now. But I'm assuming those will go up in the next batch. So attacks one enemy 3 times. That's pretty good for Fire Knight. Fills the turn meter of 3 random allies by 15%. Allies can only have their turn meter filled once per turn by this skill. Fills the turn meter of 3 random allies by 15%. Allies can only have their turn meter filled once. So it's going to be 3 other allies, and they'll each get 15%. So like one champion isn't just going to get like a 45% boost out of nowhere. Seems decent, especially in attacks 3 times on her A1. Removes all debuffs on all allies, then heals them. The heal amount is proportional to this champion's attack. Removes all debuffs on all allies and then heals them. The heal is proportional to this champion's attack, which is really weird because each one increases the heal percentage on her, or for the books. I feel like you wouldn't even need books on her. Revives an ally with sort of full turn meter. That's amazing. Down to a 2 turn. You definitely want this cooldown. Ally defense in all battles by 33. That's actually amazing. The only weird thing is like her heal is based off of her attack. So would you not try to build her defense? I mean, she's literally a support champion. So would you build her with a lot of attack and maybe defense, and then just hope that she heals for a buttload? I have no clue. That seems really like weird. I think it's really weird whenever they have like champions not scale off of like what a support would normally build as, which is like HP or defense, just to, you know, stay alive. She has some really good stats. Faction Wars is a 5. That's crazy. Clan Boss is a 4.7, so she's pretty good. I think this aura is actually also amazing for Clan Boss. You definitely want a defense aura for Clan Boss. And the next one you would want is like speed. So we have Baron. I think this is the last one. Yeah, we are coming to the end, boys and girls. So we have his A1. Attacks one enemy, will attack all remaining enemies with any surplus damage if the target is killed. Has a 10% chance to unlock a secret skill, Sky Piercer, for 1 turn. I'm assuming this is Sky Piercer, yeah. So he has a secret skill, kind of like Mortu Macab. Mortu Macab is like pretty trashed here right now, but I actually pulled him, and he's actually getting a buff, so that's pretty cool. But yeah, so now I know. So we'll look through the Sky Piercer skill later. So it'll unlock this skill for 1 turn. Interesting. Attacks one enemy, places a 60% decreased debuff for 2 turns. This debuff is guaranteed, so it cannot be resisted. Has a 20% chance of unlocking secret skill. So everything revolves around the secret skill. This is 10%, 20%. Can be down to a 3 turn cooldown. So this places a 60% decreased debuff for 2 turns, but it is only on 1 person. So it doesn't seem like terrible, but it's not like crazy. Unless this Sky Piercer skill is just insane. Attacks one enemy, damage increases according to the number of buffs on this champion, has a 40% chance. 40% chance. And this can be brought down to a 4 turn cooldown. So 40, 20, and 10. 40, 20, 10. This is on a 4 turn cooldown, this is on a 3 turn cooldown, and of course you have your A1. Let's look at his thing for his ally attack in battles is 33. I wonder why they don't keep the auras like the same for every single champion. Like some people have like lower attack auras. Like you would assume if he has attack in all battles by 33, that someone like Richtoff would have like, if it's only in faction crypts, it would be like some crazy amount, like 40% or something. Like they just keep it the same, and this is all battles by 23%. I wonder why they value different legendaries differently. I mean, he has a void, so obviously he's going to be harder to get. But yeah, let's take a peek at his Sky Piercer ability. Attacks all enemies, deals pure damage, will ignore shield and block damage to be honest. So is that what pure damage is? It will ignore shield and block damage. That's the only thing. So I'm assuming pure damage doesn't mean it pierces through defense, otherwise that would be like OP. This guy's also so slow, 90 speed.
Oh yes, Daddy!
But it's based off of attack. All his skills are based off attack. So if it unlocks it for one turn, doesn't mean he just automatically casts it. Because that seems like a super RNG champion, but this guy is super shiny. But yeah. Oh dang, he's got some pretty good reviews too. So yeah, that seems pretty cool. I mean, you can't like bring the chance of unlocking the skill up at all, which is kind of weird. But yeah, overall pretty good champion. He probably hits like a truck. He has almost 1600 attack. So yeah, that is all the new legendaries with Lord Champfort and Richtoff getting some buffs, and in the next patch I will definitely put timestamps for you guys. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this series. I'll probably try to go through every single legendary, because I think one of the cool things about Raid is that like there's so much stuff to learn. Like I started 2 months ago and I don't know like even like a fraction of what this game has to offer. Like aside from the gameplay, the character models are freaking amazing. Like they have some crazy character models, and like all the champions have crazy skills that you don't see like implemented in other games, which is really cool. But I don't know, it's just fun to look through all these champions and figure out what they do as a new player. And I'm just like sharing with you guys my first thoughts on all of them. So yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure to subscribe if you haven't already. If you watched like the whole video to this point, thank you so much, and I will hopefully see you guys next time.